Today on the grid, we are talking about how to deal with tourists in your travel photography. Mr. Kuna will be joining us, Skyping in from the road, and we've got lots of giveaways, but we have a very special in-studio guest. John Dukes is back again. Johnny's back again. John is back. Tell a friend. It's going to be a wild, wild day on the grid. And when does this mirth and merriment start? It all starts in about 23.2 seconds. Let's go!
The grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the grid. We are live. It must be 1 o'clock-ish. East Coast time. East Coast. John Dukes is here. Wow, that was pretty quiet. We should turn his mic on. Can we turn John's mic on? Is that thing working? Also,
it's not the same with having the headphones on.
Oh, yeah. The reason why we have headphones in is Skyping in from somewhere out west. It's the Kuna Man.
The Rocket Man.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. Where are you at? Where are you at?
I'm outside of Page, Arizona, starting to step back towards Tampa, Florida.
Uh-oh, Paige.
Hey, Eric, can I tell you what an honor it is to sit in your seat here on the grid?
Right.
I mean, this is like...
Oh, I don't know if I call that. Yeah.
Hey, can I tell you something, John? When you're not here, I move over there and I just sit in it. I'll come in on like weekends, like on a Saturday, and I'll just sit in this chair. It's awesome.
I love the view.
Oh, it's incredible.
It is a nice view.
It's beautiful. Well, today our topic is how to deal with tourists in your travel photography. We are in the height of travel photography season. I know a lot of people have trips coming up, and of course, I've got trips coming up. Mr. Kuna is in the middle of a trip.
Yeah, middle of a trip. Yeah.
So lots of trips coming up. Where are you going, John? Where's your next?
Next, I'm going home to D.C.
He's going home to D.C. All right. Well, let's briefly talk about why John is here today. So, John has been on the grid before. You may have recognized him, and a lot of know of you that are in the KelbyOne community, of course, know John. He's very, very active in the community. But so John pitched me on the idea of doing a class because we do these series of classes. It's a photographer's guide to Paris, Rome, Chicago, New York, London, etc., right? So he pitched me on that idea of doing one in D.C., and he lives in D.C., and he showed me some of his pictures, and I'm like, holy cow, like, he's got the greatest photos of D.C., and you could say, oh, well, he lives there. Lots of people live in D.C. that don't have images like he does, but he's also got all the insights and all that stuff. And so yesterday he was here recording one of his classes, and I sat in and watched it. And number one, he's great on camera. He's very fluid. He's with Larry Becker. They're doing it just like I do it, but he just did it a little better, just a little better than I do it. But he had phenomenal images in places I've never seen. So it was better that he did it than me going to D.C. and trying to figure it out. He's got every great shot of every great place. You were terrific yesterday.
Thank you so much, Scott. I really appreciate it. Yeah, D.C. is a wonderful place to shoot. And one of the greatest things that I talk about in the class is you don't have to just be a travel photographer to shoot in D.C. There's some of the most epic shots in history have been taken in that city. It not only has some of the best architecture, the ceremonies like in Arlington National Cemetery, which we talked about. You can also do street photography there. You could do journalistic photography. There's so much there. There's so much to offer. And quite honestly, when put in the class together, it was very hard to pick out the best things. Yeah. Because honestly, you could do a whole KelbyOne class just, for example, on Arlington National Cemetery, or a whole KelbyOne class just on the cherry blossoms and how to use the cherry blossoms in your shot.
Did you show that picture of the guy going across the Potomac? What's his name? Washington? Did you show a picture of that?
No, I missed that shot.
Oh yeah, it's quite famous. It's a quite famous photo. It's a photo. If you're thinking it's a drawing, you're way off. It's a photo.
Right. Yeah. It really is. I really enjoyed it. Washington D.C. is not only where I live, but it really is a spectacular place to shoot. I really hope that some of you, watch the class. All of you watch it. It really, I put a lot of heart into it. I just love it there. It's a great city, a great place, and I do a lot of traveling. I do a lot of traveling around the United States and the national parks. But really, it is such an honor to be there, and it's become kind of a tradition to us every year when we do the KelbyOne photo walks. I now lead photo walks every year in Washington D.C., and many of you know that we do those annually for the Springs of Hope Orphanage in Kenya, and it's kind of become like a tradition there for us now. Tracy and I, we have people coming from all over. People coming from New York, we had someone from Florida last year, from North Carolina, and we do the monuments at night, which also is a beautiful place. And Eric, I know you love night photography too, so doing the monuments at nighttime there and getting the full moon in your shots, it's spectacular. It really is.
John, I'm kind of surprised you skipped over the most important aspect of Washington, D.C.
Which is what?
The fact that there is a Carmine's.
There is a Carmine's.
The Carmine's from New York on West 44th. There is a Carmine's in D.C.
Yes.
It's just as good as the one in New York.
Yeah, the restaurants, and you could get food from any part of the world in Washington, D.C.
But why would you go anywhere other than Carmine's?
Well, you can tell Scott's a big fan of Carmine's. Carmine's is a great place. But let me tell you, if you want to go somewhere, if you want the best cheeseburger on the East Coast, the Old Ebbets Grill on H Street, right by the White House, and actually it's on F Street, I beg your pardon. On F Street, you probably have to take your financial advisor with you because you'll need to take out a second mortgage on your home to get the cheeseburger there.
That's expensive.
But it's pretty expensive, but it's really, really good. And if you like a chili dog, Ben's Chili Bowl.
I do like
on U
chili
Street
dogs.
in Northwest. This is not something. This is an exclusive only on the grid. We didn't talk about this in the class
exclusive. All right,
Insider
info.
Right, yeah.
All right. Before we get to our topic, we got some giveaways today, so let's really quick go over the prizes. Actually, John, you want to do the prizes?
Sure.
They're right there.
Okay. All right. We're giving away a Platypod elbow to some lucky winner today. Okay, and we're also giving away. Somebody wrote this book. Who wrote this? How do I do that in Photoshop? I think this guy right here wrote it.
I don't know how to do anything in Photoshop.
Mr. Scott Kelby, we are giving that away today too. We're also giving away another book. What?
It's crazy.
Another book from Scott Kelby. How do I do? No, this isn't. This is the Adobe Photoshop book. Not how do I do that in Photoshop.
Yes.
That is another book he wrote.
It's different.
But the Adobe Photoshop book is the one that we're giving away.
Yes.
And we are also giving away a V-flat. Okay, and the V-flat is only for domestic, only United States. Is that right? It's
yes.
not for international.
Okay,
because we won't be shipping them from outside the country. The V-flat, of course, is any of you have seen those before. They're great. I actually won one on the grid a long time ago, and they're great. They're really nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we're also giving away a Retouch for Me skin tone app, which you can. Now, you can get these also, even if you don't win them today. You can also enter promo codes KelbyOne20 for the Retouch for Me at promo.retouchforme.com. to get a 20% discount.
No, it's actually just promo.retouch4.me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I added the .com on there.
There's
just to mess with you all. I added the .com in the end. It's promo.retouch for me. Thank you for that correction.
Gosh, John.
And also, too, you get a 10% discount on the V-flat. Use just Kelby10 at checkout to get 10% off on vflatworld.com for the V-flat. Okay, but good luck to the. I forgot one. We're also giving away a membership for SlickPick, 1 year complimentary plan for SlickPick. I use SlickPick myself. It's wonderful. A lot of the KelbyOne instructors here use SlickPick for their portfolio sites.
Oh yeah,
and they're just terrific people. That they will actually build the website for you. They'll build your portfolio site, and it's made specifically for top. Hey,
you see Eric Egley Photography there in the right corner? I just talked to Eric the other day because I said into my phone, call Erik Kuna, and it called Eric Egley. And I know Eric, like he's a friend, so I had to. The call came through, and I go, "All right, Eric, this is a butt dial." But let's chat while I got you. And I got caught up with him. He's a really great photographer and a great guy. Also, we got On One No Noise 2024 plugin and all that stuff. So we got lots of giveaways today, as always. All right.
Yeah, and speaking of that, Scott, I was out shooting Milky Way the other night, and I think I sold a couple copies of On One No Noise while I was out there.
Right. Dude, I tell you what. So I started just using effects. Like, that's how that was my entry into the On One world, which is great. However, I've used it today, literally. I used the resize, On One resize, and I also use the and no noise. And I never use noise reduction.
Yeah.
Because noise reduction would
really
just basically blur your image to make it. But it does such a phenomenal job that I'm not scared to use it at all. I use it all the time.
It just literally lifts the noise. I shot a picture, a night shot, that I had to do handheld. And it was like 25,000 ISO, like this ridiculous high ISO. And ran it through the On One No Noise, and it literally just lifted the noise and sharpened the image at the same time.
I know, it's crazy.
It's like Aliens behind the scene.
It's like Aliens. It's like it's probably alien technology.
Right.
It came from Area 51 when Eric was there. I think when Eric went out to Area 51, he was trying to get to the secret of noise reduction.
Yeah, the only problem was, Scott, Nando wouldn't let me go.
He wouldn't let you go. I know. You would have had it early before anybody. All right, we got to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how to deal with tourists in your travel photography. We've got a couple of different interesting things that we can do. So we will do that right after this. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Richard Burnaby, and welcome to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I'm excited to show you some of my favorite places, including Cades Cove, Klingman's Dome, the Foothills Parkway, sunrises, sunsets, rivers, waterfalls, all my favorite places, how I shoot them, and some of my favorite techniques. So come join me on my latest KelbyOne class.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Hey, we're back. Welcome back to The Grid. Scott Kelby here with John Dukes. Erik Kuna is out on the West Coast, out by Page, Arizona, which, if you're not familiar with that area, that is a hot spot for landscape photography because the canyon slots are there. Horseshoe Bend is there. You're close to all these, the Vermilion Cliffs are close. There's all these different things that are like kind of in this golden triangle that, and Page is
it's a beautiful
hot
place.
spot. Now, I will say this.
Yeah.
There's nice places to stay in Page now. There used to be one hotel, the Courtyard by Marriott. And then now there's tons of hotels, but there was one, and you could never get in it. And I wound up sleeping in one of the worst hotels of my entire life in Page, Arizona.
I'm sure.
It was dripping water onto the carpet. It was like we all slept with the lights on. It was like we thought this is where you go to die. But anyway, we all want to get onto our topic real quick. We've got some shout outs here. John, take it away.
Okay, Daniel Oberdanner is saying hi from Switzerland. Hey, Daniel, how's it going? Saying hello to me and from Zurich and the KelbyOne Community. Obrick is saying hello from Gothenburg, Sweden. We got people from all over the world today.
Yeah, we do.
Mm-hmm.
Julia Wintermoyer saying hello from Hagerstown, Maryland. I know where Hagerstown is. I live very close to there. Paula Stone, hello guys, happy hump day. Ken Goley, hello from hot Arizona. It's hot here in Florida too, Ken. Craig Byers saying hello from Ashburn, Virginia. Chase L, greetings from Southern California. Mike Buckman is saying hello from
Michael.
hot Albany. And Carolyn Novak is saying hello from Long Island, New York. And Norm is saying hello from sunny Northern Virginia. And I know in Northern Virginia, the heat index is 115 degrees today.
Woo!
So I never thought I'd be happy to say I'm in Florida to get away from
Yeah,
the
it's not
heat
that
back
hot.
home.
I mean, it's hot here, but it's not anywhere near that hot.
Yeah.
All right. So we were talking, our topic today is about how to deal with tourists. And I want to give you an idea how bad things are. So I want to show you a picture that I took. I was in Venice. I was doing a workshop there. And the day before, I'm kind of, scoping locations and stuff. And I turned around. I'm on this little bridge. I turned around and looked back at the crowd. And take a look at my screen here. And that's the crowd in Venice. I mean, I just turned around and like, wow, there's a lot of people here. Now, I'm going to show you a video. So I did, how John did where to shoot in DC? I did where to shoot in, I just recorded where to shoot in Budapest, and I also did a class. It's not a where to shoot yet. I'm going to do one of those, but it is a class on how to shoot Travel Like a Pro, and I shot it in Santorini. So Jason came over with me to the island of Santorini in Greece, and at about 9:30 in the morning, I want to show you what it looks like. We got a video footage. Here's what it looks like at 9:30 in the morning.
Goodness.
Take a look. There's the Kuna man.
Yeah, there's me. Yeah.
And this is us at 9:30, just trying to make our way down the street.
Wow.
Is that crazy? So when you go to like a shooting location or at sunset, you can wait easily, in one night we did 30 minutes to get up to the spot, and then you've got like 2 minutes to shoot because you've got 50 people waiting in line behind you. So how do you even get around that? Well, first, I do want to tell you, because I mentioned it briefly, I am doing a class on where to shoot in Santorini. I've got great locations, really, really great ones. I've got all kinds of recommendations for you on what to shoot and where to go. And these are some just behind the scenes shots of places to shoot. And so let's see those cruise ship. See that cruise ship down there? 2,500 people. They're all going to be all over the place.
Yeah, we saw them. That was all those people that are walking down the street. They all unloaded off those cruise boats.
Yep. It was crazy. But anyway, that class is coming up. Now, there's two classes. Class number 1 is all on travel photography. It's just the essentials of travel photography. And yes, I do include when it's better to shoot with the phone. That's number 1. And the second class is the locations. It's exactly, you're going to Santorini, here's where to go. But I'll tell you what the big secret is. I'm going to give you the first secret. Eric knows this. John knows this.
Yep.
It's the key.
It's a universal.
It works every time.
Universal. Do you know when the streets are empty? At dawn. At dawn. Get there before dawn, get in place, and then and I've shown up at places that you would swear there would be a bunch of other photographers. Literally in Santorini, at the place where there's 500 photographers at night, you get there in the morning, it's you.
Yes.
You're alone. How about this? In front of the Vatican in Rome, the Colosseum in Rome, the Eiffel Tower in Paris, up at the Trocadero, nobody there. Now, here's what's great about it. John was talking about this on the break.
Yes.
We get great light.
Yes. And we want that. We want that great, as photographers, we want to shoot at that time when the light is the best.
Yep.
So we want to get up early anyway.
That's the bonus.
That's when you're going to get the best shot.
All right, but isn't the light great at sunset?
Yeah, it's great at sunset too.
But what's the problem with sunset?
You still have tourists in your shot at sunset.
You got tourists. The tourists are out. Tourists do not like getting up early. They hate it. They absolutely can't stand it. So, and Eric will tell you this. I'll set you up, Eric, here. We go out in the morning. We're there at dawn. We get the shots. Now, honestly, and we were just talking about this, the best shots aren't really once the sun comes up. The best shots are in the half hour leading right up to sunrise.
Right.
Now, you can get a couple of nice shots just as the sun is coming over the peak, like over the buildings or over the mountain or whatever there. You can get a couple of nice shots. Then the light turns bad amazingly fast. It goes from beautiful, stunning, soft light with color to in about 10 minutes. What happens at that 10-minute mark when the good light is gone? Eric?
Well, this is the amazing thing, and I'm telling them this is a universal too, because we always hear shoot at sunrise. And it's not sunrise. It's during that twilight before that. So what happens is the minute the sun rises, then all the tourists start coming out. But not only that, that's when I see, and I know you see, and we all see, that's even when the photographers that have the gear and the backpack, they end up showing up just like always like 20, 30, 40 minutes too late. And you're like, oh, I feel so bad for you. Like, you should have been here like 40 minutes ago when I was here and it was beautiful. And they're just showing up. And it's so sad for me to see every time. And it's a universal. It always happens in the morning where people, the photographer, and that's the tourist, like, okay, you're a tourist. I kind of like the fact that you didn't come early. But it's those people that have all this gear who traveled all around the world and then just showed up like 45 minutes too late.
And I think it's just a misunderstanding that a lot of photographers have. You know, when they hear show up at sunrise, they're not thinking show up before sunrise and have your tripod ready and everything set to go.
Yeah, like John and I, I mean, I would say for me, it's like I show up an hour before sunrise to where I'm going to shoot.
Absolutely.
Like, what did you say about like an hour?
Yeah, because you want to be set up. You want to be set up and ready to shoot at least 30 minutes before.
And you know what else?
It starts getting better. And then in the morning, it starts getting worse and worse and worse. It goes really good, and then it gets really good, and then it goes worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yes.
For sunset, which is the opposite, where it starts getting better, it gets really good, really good, really good, and then it's night.
And you know what else too, Eric? Like, I remember a time when Tracy and we were staying in Jackson Hole, and we wanted to take a trip to Yellowstone at the Yellowstone Grand Canyon there. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Mm-hmm. But it's about maybe a 3.5 hour drive from Jackson Hole. So we got up, both of us, at 2 o'clock in the morning, drove out there, and we were so disappointed. We got our tripod set up, everything was ready to go. The sun started to come up, but the light was just terrible. Yeah. It was overcast. And then photographers started to go home. But we waited a little bit. We waited a little bit more. Sometimes if you just wait just a tiny bit longer,
this is true,
something will happen where you get like this epic shot, the light coming through the clouds with these beautiful hues and magentas. So even after the sun comes up, sometimes I like to stick around and wait because the light can change very rapidly. And you could get the shot after everybody's gone and when thinking that the light was bad and it was just a wash.
Yep, and we see it all the time.
Definitely, because we get that little burn off too that happens if it's that overcast. You can start get those burn offs, and then the color will start popping through. So you just never, I hardly ever give up on a location, because it seems like every time I give up on the location, then I'm driving home and I'm like, ooh, look at that magenta, or
Right.
ooh, look at that, like I could have been there.
Yeah, that's
so I
the
just
worst
don't do it
feeling.
anymore.
That's
Yeah.
the worst feeling when you see the sky when you're driving away from the location you were
Hey,
just
speaking
at.
of those photographers, when we were in Hungary, so we got up at dawn and we went to the most popular attraction in Budapest, which is Fisherman's Bastion. It is this overlook over the city and like an old, like, looks like a fantasy castle. It's pretty amazing. But we went there in the morning and there is nobody there. An hour later, there's 500 people there. An hour and a half later, there's 1,000 people there. It's just, and a lot of photographers were as we're leaving, we're waiting for our, well, it's not an Uber, they use Faux Taxi, waiting for our taxi to pick us up, and literally, here come the photographers.
Yeah.
Here comes all the photographers. So that's crazy. But what happens, all right, if you didn't get up early, or you can't get up early? Now, cruise ships, which are the I don't know what they
Bane
are.
of a photographer's
Bane,
assistant.
that's the word. That's it. Right. And hold on. There we go. Hold on one second. We just lost a comment. I wanted to read Judy's comment. Just went away. There it is. Judy says, just came back from Croatia, and it's the same thing. The streets are so busy, especially when those cruise ships show up. So I want to talk about what you just saw in that picture of Santorini. When we were there, which was a month ago, say. We were there before the season actually hit. We were there right before season. There are 10,000 tourists every day that show up from those cruise ships. However, in July, right now, it's 20,000 a day. That is 10,000 a day, what you're seeing right there. Double that. Double it. And that's what's there right now in July. It's crazy. And finding a shooting location is tough. But if you get up at dawn, you will be by yourself. All right? Hey, Dale says, after sunrise, go to breakfast, take a little nap, and then edit your fantastic images. There you go.
That's a great
Now,
advice, Dale.
So let's just say, hypothetical situation. You didn't get up early and you have tourists in your shot. What do? We've got a couple of different strategies, and we're going to look at those right after the break. Don't go away.
What you do is you got a skunk and you release them.
Or pepper spray. Pepper spray.
We know who looking like this for real. We know who looking like that. We know who looking like this for real. We know who looking like that.
Hey everyone, Rick Salmon here. I'm really excited to share with you the news about my latest KelbyOne class, Safari Photography in a Wildlife Park, which is a ton of fun, but it's also challenging. So in this class, I'm going to share with you everything that you need to know to get great pictures in a wildlife park like Fossil Rim Wildlife Center in Glen Rose, Texas, where I am right now. I'm going to cover photographing from a safari vehicle with the goal of making photographs, not just taking photographs, that do not look as though they were taken in a man-made habitat. I'll share with you my camera gear recommendations. I'll show you how to make fences, even chain link fences, photographically disappear in camera. We will explore creative composition, whether you are taking close-ups, which help to tell the story of your experience, or environmental portraits of the animals, which show a subject in its beautiful environment. By the end of the class, you will have enough photo info to take pictures in a wildlife park that look very, very similar to pictures taken in the wild. So my friends, I really hope you can join me for my latest class only on KelbyOne.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
All right, we're back, Scott. Me. I'm here with John Dukes and Mr. Kuna out west, Skyping on in. There he is. All right, Laws One says, I love traveling with a group of photographers because we push each other to get up early.
Great tip.
This is true. Yes. Now, I will tell you this, as Eric knows. So we're in Santorini, and Eric goes, let's go shoot the Milky Way. We have to leave at 3 in the morning. So we arranged a bus, and Eric and a group of photographers. I was like this. You guys have a great time.
No, thanks.
No, you guys have a great time. I'll be a sleepy bear. All right.
Kevin's got a great question too, Scott.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute. So I want to talk about. I set you up when we were just going on to the break. What do you do if it's too late? This is something not a lot of people realize, but take a look here in Lightroom. So in the last update of Lightroom, they did something amazing. They actually added Photoshop's generative AI, generative fill, into Lightroom, because you would not be able to get rid of these folks with anything in Lightroom reliably. You might get rid of them in Photoshop before, but now here's what. Watch how great this is. This is inside of Lightroom. You're going to go to the eraser tool, and then you're going to turn on this checkbox right here. Generative AI. That's the one.
And if you don't have that, Scott, you need to update your Lightroom.
Right. Yeah. If you don't see this here when you click on it, if you don't see that and early access and all that stuff, which is, they're saying it's beta, right? Because it's new. Basically, it's a brush. You're going to take the brush and you're going to go, see these people here? You're going to paint over them. Then you're going to hit apply. And you're going to wait a few seconds, about 12 seconds. And look at that. I mean, look at that. You've had Lightroom. You know Lightroom doesn't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's try this guy. Hit apply. Look at that.
And it also gives you other options too if you don't like the one that it did for you.
Oh yeah, you got variations
other
just
ones
like
also.
in Photoshop.
Yeah.
If you don't like the first one, you can look at number 2 or number 3.
Right. This is look at
Oh,
put a
it
bride and
replaced
groom
them.
there.
Oh, look at
Now
that.
it's a royal wedding.
Oh, wow.
Let's happen number 2. All right. That is unfortunate. So in that case, you would have to go over to. You'd have to go.
Scott, you might be able to just select one person and the other person and not do that whole area.
Yeah. Let's try. I'm surprised it did that poorly, but it made a royal wedding, which is nice.
It actually is a nice.
Yeah, there we go.
It's really good now.
That was a great tip, Eric.
Yeah, we got winner 1. Let's try it again. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
It worked. I think I maybe selected a little too much. But anyway, that is inside of Lightroom. So that is not having to go to Photoshop or use any of the generative fill stuff there. But if you want to use the generative fill stuff in Photoshop, it is otherworldly what you can do there. I'm going to show you. I made a little video for you. All right. So take a look. Now, this is with the beta. I think it's gotten better since, but watch this. So we're inside of Photoshop. We're going to get the lasso tool. And look at all these tourists in front of this trolley. And this is in Istanbul. So I'm going to get rid of this guy, these people over here, these people that are ruining my shot. And then we select
dare they ruin your shot?
all of this. Then you're going to go down here to Generative Fill, and you're not going to type anything in. You're just going to click on the button called Generate. So you're going to hit Generative Fill and then Generate. And you're going to wait about 12 seconds.
That's amazing.
That is insanity. Now, you have 3 versions, right? Variations, actually, they're called. And you can choose the one that looks the most, right to you. I would say that one.
Yeah.
The only problem with that one is it took out the track.
Well,
I
but
think.
okay, it did take out the track, but you can use, you won't be able to see the track because of there were people in the way. Because I was going to say you can use the history brush. You can see it's a little messed up there, right? It's a little messed up. So what you can do is look, you can select the messed up part
And then let it do it again.
and do it again.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get rid of this dude over here. Half a dude. half a dude. Half a dude. Half a dude.
And like you said, Scott, this was even an earlier version.
Yeah, this was in the beta. Look at that.
That's pretty amazing.
Here's
cool.
different variations. I think the first
And
one maybe
what's so
is
amazing too is that it
second
even
one, I don't
puts
know.
the shadow of the trolley on the ground, which you couldn't
Yep.
have seen before. You know,
and now you can, if you don't like the results, just hit that generate button again. It'll use the same selection that you just made. So let's see if we find a better front of that trolley. I think we probably can find a better front than what's there. Give it a sec. Oh, that's better.
yeah.
There you go.
That's better.
Sometimes you just have to play around with it.
Yeah, I mean, it is, yeah, first one. Yeah, and you probably got a little cleanup over there on the left, but let's hit generate again. But it's just, this is mind-blowing
Well,
technology.
when you think about
to
where
me.
you started, with that, with hundreds of
Right.
tourists in front of it.
And then once
Hey,
you get
Rick
you
Salmon.
can go in and clean up the graffiti on the wall.
Rick
and-
Salmon is in the chat and says John Dukes is rocking it lately. Rick, we were just
Rick.
talking about your class. We were just talking
just
about how
talking about
great
you,
your
Rick.
class
Your
is.
ears were
You
ringing.
can't believe the shots that you got in the safari park. We were just talking about that on the break.
If you haven't watched Rick Simon's class on safari photography in Texas, please go watch it. It's absolutely terrific. Really
Oh,
good
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you're in a safari, like in Africa.
It really
Yeah.
does.
Without the
It's-
long flight and all that stuff.
the long
and the
flight.
expense and all. All right, so take a look. We're in Photoshop here. Now, John mentioned adding a skunk to get rid of
Yeah.
people. So
it-
just here.
That
look-
trick works so good that
Look.
B&H is going to start selling skunks that we could take with us when
But
we go
they're in
on
a small
location.
cage, so they're easy to travel with. Take a look in the right corner. Oh, there we go. Little skunkaroo right down here.
But now you got to make the people running away.
Well, that happens automatically. All right. So in a situation like this, I'm going to grab the lasso tool, and we'll get rid of these folks right here. Whee! Hit generative fill.
Make sure you make the sound effects as you're putting the lasso around.
Yeah, oh, duh. Duh. Look at that. Come on, that's
amazing.
crazy. Now, why is it better to do it in little increments like this? Besides which, that the results are sometimes better, as we saw, because the resolution of what it puts there. If you take a very big area, the resolution won't be as good. So little areas work very well. And bigger areas, while it will remove it, there's a loss of detail in those areas. Now, will it show up on Instagram? Probably not. Instagram, you'll probably never see it. But what if you wanted to make a print or something like that? All right, now, watch this, because we're not going to just get rid of tourists or this orange thing. That's called an orange thing. Let's grab a couple other folks while we're here. And maybe these guys. All right, one more, and then I'll show you something else here. Wait for it. Wait for it. Yeah, but see the scaffolding that's killing this shot over here?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's select this whole scaffolding area. And while we're here, let's grab a couple of tourists that are mucking up things. Hit generative fill and then hit generate. That one's not very good. That was
That is
pretty
great.
good.
Yeah, that's
You
pretty
know,
good.
Eric knows. I always say it's generally the second one.
Second
but
or
let's
third.
look at the third. I think
Yeah.
the
That's
the
third.
second.
Second?
Well, maybe. The second one, yeah, I don't know. The second one keeps it straight. The third one adds a little bit more character.
Oh yeah, so it's bowed up a little bit there.
Yeah.
And you can always go back in and fine tune, what it did and make it look, what? Because generative fill is great, but really, we used to do this stuff in Photoshop before.
Right.
We just weren't able to do it as fast as we're able to do it now.
Yeah, because you could pick up a piece of this, move it over, scale it down, soften the edges with a mask. You could do all of that stuff.
And if we did that, Scott, the show would be over.
Right, because we would get to do one thing. Hey, let me show you before and after. Here's before with all the tourists and that, and then here's the after. And then skunk. And by the way I got the skunk was I drew a selection and wrote add skunk. And there it is. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Isn't it? All right.
Oh, yeah.
We have to take another break. We are taking your questions. Oh, we didn't tell you how to enter the contest. To want to enter the contest to win any of that stuff, just leave us a comment of any kind, but tell us what you want to win.
Right.
So we send you the right stuff.
And that was my bad. I forgot to tell you how to enter the contest. That's because I want to keep all the prizes for myself. So.
Yeah.
This is true. Anything that doesn't get win, John gets to take. That was part of our agreement. So drop us any comments or questions or anything you have, and you're immediately entered to win. We'll be picking the winners in just a few minutes. But we will be right back with more ideas about how to get rid of these tourists and stuff right after this break.
Well, you know who looking like this for real. Well, you know who looking like this. Well, you know who looking like this for real. Well, you know who looking like this.
Well, hey everybody, Eric Kuna here, and I'm here with another class on creative techniques for airshow photography. This is going to build off of if you've just taken a basics class, you've gone to air shows, you've got the basics down. We're going to go through these techniques that you can do to take your shots from just having a frozen plane or just having some prop blur to adding motion to your frame, putting intersecting objects with your frame. We're going to go through things about lowering our shutter speed, raising our shutter speed, using stuff in the foreground, using stuff in the background, different angles that we're going to shoot, taking our shots from just good, sharp shots to creative shots like this. So join me over in my class over on KelbyOne.com, all about creative airshow photography techniques.
I am a portrait and wedding photographer based in Valencia, Spain.
I do mainly commercial and editorial photography, and I retouch up to 100 photos a month.
We shoot almost every day for all kinds of clients, such as commercial, beauty, and fashion. And we retouch our work more often, like every other day.
I used to spend over 1 hour for one photo.
If we want professional results, we must remove skin blemishes, do micro dodge and burn, highlight eyes, whiten teeth, and even reduce wrinkles in clothes. And this can easily take me up to 2 hours of work for each photo.
So when I saw that there's a plugin for Photoshop that helps you retouch quicker, I was eager to get my hands on it.
I read many feedbacks about it, and I found a lot of positive reviews, which made me to consider buying my first plugin.
One of the challenges we have at the end of a session or wedding is to achieve an edition in our photograph that look natural. This is where retouch for me has become a game changer.
I love the feature that you can pick how much effect it has on your photo, and you can adjust it accordingly to your style.
I saved a lot of time and always end up having amazing result with my work.
I am extremely happy with the quality.
Now I am more efficient and have more time to spare with my family.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
We're back. Hey, we are back. Scott's here, John's here, Eric's here, the whole gang. I was just telling John about this picture, and then I went and found it. So this is Central Park in New York City. And
I know that place.
I'm sorry?
I know that place.
Yes, it's
been there many
popular.
times.
And I'm just going to go for the whole thing. Watch. I'm going to take people on the bench, All this.
You're going all in.
I'm going all in. Now, it would not be smart to do this if you're going to make a print, but you can get away with it for like Instagram. But get these people. Give it a second. Let's see what happens. Now, this could go great or it could go very poorly. Well, that's the thing about it. You don't know. It's every time it does it, it's different.
It took all the benches out, too.
It took the benches out. Well, let's just see if we can get the benches back. Nope.
They put one in.
No. Benches are gone.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Would you rather have benches or tourists? Because you can't have them both.
I actually like it without the benches. But
Yeah.
what I would do is I would take out the other bench, too.
Well, but here's what I was talking about. Here's what you could do. Flatten the image and go get the history brush. The history brush is undo on a brush. So if you really wanted, well, not that one. Hold on. Let me see. Trying to figure out where the bench is.
That was the problem, is I think so many of the benches were covered.
I thought there was a little bit of bench there we could get. Nah.
Well, also, too, Eric, that what the selection was made around the benches as well as the people.
Yeah.
So when generative fill was applied, it
yeah.
thought you wanted to take the benches out.
You could have been a little bit more strategic about not capturing the benches.
Yes, I could have been more strategery. Okay. Anyway, it's still just very impressive.
It is
to
very.
see it.
It
Okay.
is.
I have a few other strategies we want to talk about. And there was two strategies I had. One of them is don't remove everybody. Leave one person.
Yeah.
If you can leave one person, it makes for a more interesting image. Let's go back to this one I just
agree.
did.
Yeah, because it adds scale a lot
It
of
adds
times.
scale and
it adds scale
and it
just
tells
some
it
human
tells a
interest.
story in the
And
image.
the human aspect of it, yeah.
Let's
Travel.
leave.
Especially if it's like a rainy
Let's
day
leave
and you
this
have one
woman.
person with an umbrella.
Let's leave her. Well, I'm just looking for somebody interesting. She's interesting. She's got a nice scarf and then boots and all
The
that.
one
right?
guy in the center that's walking away.
Or him. That guy. Oh.
No, in the center of the frame.
This
Him
guy?
right there.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, let's try him. That looks good. That looks pretty good. That's a good call. That's a good call, John.
Just how he's walking right up the center of the.
Yes, right up the center. All right, we'll add these people and we'll hold the shift key so I can add more selection. See if I can leave a little bit of. I'm going to see if I can leave a little bit of. I don't know if it's going to work. You know, I hate removing a drummer, but we're going to do it. All right.
If it was a guitar player, you'd
let's
leave
see
him
what
in.
happens. So, and if this works well, you'll see why the one person thing is makes it more powerful and more interesting. So it's like, you know, not like an abandoned Earth kind of thing. Let's try a couple other. Close.
It's getting there.
It's getting there, but that's where you could just now iterate on top of that. You know, you could.
But you
could
notice too
flatten it.
the benches now.
Look at the
are-
bench.
Yeah.
So now I would want to go in here.
That's pretty wild.
I don't know what's going on over here. Something over there. Let's try this. There we go. But that gives you the idea.
And that is neat with one person in the
Yeah,
photo.
one person, it actually does add like a human interest. It adds scale. It adds a lot of things. So that's one of the things. I had two things I wanted to tell you, and one of them was that. What was the other one? One was definitely the leave one person.
I've got one, Scott.
Oh,
and it might be the
let's
one
go.
you're thinking of.
I'm hoping it is.
So when you're shooting like in a crowded church, or you're shooting in a crowded anywhere, like a interior or exterior or a very famous scene, and there is a lot of tourists, and you don't want to have to, again, like what we're doing, take them out, is a lot of times shooting over the tourists.
Yes.
Yes.
Shoot just over them. Like, especially this works great in churches where it's really packed. You go into a church, like Notre Dame, and it's packed and everybody's there, and you just shoot right above the tourists, like right above their heads. And it makes for a more interesting photo if you don't want to remove people.
All right, give me 1 second, Eric, because I have an example of that. I know right where when I did this exact thing, and I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I do it all the time when I'm just like trying to snap something and not make it look so busy.
I have it here. Hold
and
on.
the other thing too, Eric, while you're on churches, and this was something I explained in the KelbyOne class that I recorded yesterday, when you shoot churches from low to the ground, even if there's people sitting in the pews and you're using a wide angle lens,
they kind of disappear.
They disappear. The wide angle is gonna. Yeah. I shoot at 14 millimeters, and the people it pushes the scene out. So those people sitting in the front row, you can't see them anymore.
Yeah, great tip. When you get down low with a wide angle lens, you can kind of hide a lot.
Yeah.
You can make them disappear, and it's the same with a lot of things, especially. That's easier too if we get into generative fill and removing people. If you get low with a wide angle and there's not a lot of people in front of you and the people are at a distance, it becomes much easier to remove them when you get down low.
I cannot believe I'm having this hard a time. I'm in the right folder and I don't see the image. It's driving me crazy because I see other images taken from the same
I wish
place.
I had an example. I have
a perfect example if I can just find it.
Yeah, because that's a one that I use all the time.
Oh yeah, it's exactly what I do is shoot right over their heads. But
yeah,
and this is the folder from where I was in the right time in the right place. I see other pictures from there, but somehow it's missing. Give me 1 second. I got to find it now. It's a personal quest.
While you're looking, you want me to tell who won the prizes?
Yeah, would you do that, John?
Sure.
Would you?
All right, the Platypod elbow is going to Eric JB. The How Do I Do That in Photoshop book is going to Jason Taylor. Congratulations, Jason. Photoshop for Digital Photographers is going to Wally Lewis. The On One No Noise 2024 is going to Richard O. Retouch for Me Skin Tone Edition is going to Lisa. Is it Lisa or Liza? Lisa Brown. And the V Flat is going to Ron Vacon. Ron. Okay. The Slick Pick is going to Mike Buckman.
Vachon.
Okay. All right. To get your prizes, congratulations to all the winners. To claim your prizes, just email gridprize@kelbyone.com. And please claim your prize by this Friday. Otherwise, Scott's going to contact me and I'm going to take it.
Also, Michael Buckman, Mike, when you get your Slick Pick portfolio, send me a link. He's a really good photographer.
He is a great photographer.
Yeah,
I know Michael.
Really good.
Michael is wonderful. We've actually photographed in New York City together. And
creative eye. I found the picture. Here it is. You can't tell, but it is packed full of people.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely packed.
Where is that?
That is Saint-Sulpice in Paris. And I'm shooting right over their heads. If I tip the camera down, you would see 150 people. But, I mean, I'm right over their heads.
Yep, so I use that one all the time.
All right. I remember the other one, Eric. The other one that I wanted to talk about was, let me see if I have an example. Hold on. Don't move. Don't breathe. Don't make a sound. Let's see if I've got it. Because I have two examples, but there's one in particular that I think people would I don't think I have. Wait. I might have it under a different word.
All right, I got to breathe. Sorry.
You can breathe, Eric. Breathe easy, Mr. Kuna. Hold on. My computer is using AI for this. Do I have this?
Well, I like the hat, John.
Thank you.
Yeah, Canon hat.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Even though it doesn't matter. Canon, Nikon, Sony, whatever.
No, it doesn't.
It's just nice.
Yeah. I love Canon gear, though.
I do like my Canon gear.
Yeah.
Whenever I start using the Sonys, I'm like, man, this menu system is ridiculous.
Right? It's kind of crazy. Okay. I have two examples. All right. So I have the This is not Cinderella's castle. This is at Disneyland in California.
Black Beauty's castle.
This is Sleeping Beauty's castle.
Sleeping
right?
Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty's castle. So here is the deal. How did you get it with no people in there? So this is the trick. And here it is in the middle of the day with no people. And here is the Forbidden City in China with just this one guy. The secret is this. You do not need it to be empty for 3 minutes. You need the scene to be empty for 1/125th of a second. So the key here is patience.
Just wait.
I sat in front of the castle with thousands of people pouring through there, and I'm just sitting there and I'm looking at it and I'm holding my camera and I'm just waiting. I'm just leaning against a tree or something and I'm just waiting and I'm hand holding and I go, oh, wait. Oh, kid, don't come through there. No. Oh. And you wait and wait and wait and wait. I waited for 20 minutes. My family's like in the gift shops and stuff on Main Street. And I'm just waiting. I'm just sitting there. And then all of a sudden, click. And then, I hit the button and then here comes another family.
Or if you don't want to be patient and you're in Disney World or Disneyland,
wait
and
till
you're in front of the
closing
castle,
time.
just yell out really loud, "Hey, Taylor Swift is over at Tomorrowland. Go run over there." And everybody runs out of the scene.
They do. It's amazing to see all these seniors bolting for Taylor Swift.
Another one, Scott, though, along the lines of what you're talking about is doing what you're talking about, where you're taking a shot when nobody's in the scene, but then taking multiple shots when nobody is in part of the scene. I know, like you did that when we were at the House of Mirrors, the Hall of Mirrors, in Versailles.
Yeah.
And you're just taking okay, that side of the hall is good. Take the shot. Keep on holding it. That side of the hall, because tourists, they move. So as long as they're moving, and then you can combine it together and average it out, you can take them out.
They got to move.
Another way would be to do an extreme long exposure. If you're in a place that a lot of people are moving, if you set up a tripod, you set up a bunch of ND on there, and you could just let the people just average themselves out in camera to where you're just keeping it open long enough as long as people are moving.
And I have an example of that. Hang on.
Yeah. Those are great. Those are two ones that I use a lot, is taking multiple images and then averaging them out. And then what's cool about that technique is a lot of times then you can keep that one person in or two people in or three people in, like you're talking about, by just that person was in a good spot, but they're gone out of this frame, so I'll just put in there.
All right. So here's just what you're talking about. This is St. Mark's Square in the middle of the day, 500 people milling all over everywhere. Took my camera, got way low to the ground to a little tiny puddle. I mean a tiny puddle. And did probably an 8-minute exposure with an ND filter, a long ND filter, and it got rid of pretty much everybody. Now, if you look closely, you can see kind of a blur of people off in the distance.
But you barely notice them.
You barely notice it. But that's how we did it back in the old days. That's going old school. All right, couple of last questions that we're going to have to go. Bobby says, I missed the introduction of the guest today. I would appreciate his name and website since I live outside the district. All right. His name is Ansel Adams. No. All right. So this is John Dukes, Dukes. And you can just call him John Dukes.
Yes.
Or as we call him in our studios, John Dukes.
There you go.
And John, your website is johndukesart.com.
Yes, right? that's my landscape wildlife website. I also have a portrait website at johndukesphotography.com, which is up on the screen right now. So yeah, please feel free. You live outside the district, please send me an email, give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I'm also very active, as Scott mentioned earlier, on the KelbyOne community. I love the KelbyOne community. And can I just say, if you're not a KelbyOne member, why? Please.
Yes, why?
Yeah, please. I can't even emphasize. I know, and I hear all the time from people, is KelbyOne worth it? Is it? It absolutely is. No matter what level of photography that you're at, no matter where you are on your photography journey, if you want to learn about photography, you will find a welcoming community that will embrace whatever skill level you're at and will be friendly. Scott didn't ask me to say this on the grid today, but I just wanted to really give a plug in, because this is just terrific people here, and the longer I am a KelbyOne community, the happier I am with the decision to be a KelbyOne member. So please join, give it a try, and join the community. We would love to have you.
All right, just if you can see my screen here, this is a note we got from a member this week, right here. And it says, thanks, I signed up for the KelbyOne Pro. I would say this is the best investment in myself I have ever made. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's just an unsolicited email, and customer member service forwards it throughout the...
And I love how he worded that. You're making an investment in yourself. You're doing something for you that's not only going to make you a better photographer, but I think really the way the community encourages you. You can go into the community. There's people on there from all over the world. Like sometimes I'll ask questions in the middle of the night, and Cheeky Nando will come out
from
when
Portugal.
Everyone else is sleeping, because he's in Portugal, and he'll answer the question right then and there. So you don't have to wait until everybody wakes up the next day when it's...
Oh, it's a phenomenal community. And you know what else is, I think that people don't realize, because a lot of people have been burned in photography communities, because some of these photography communities, if you ask a beginner question, they bury you.
Yes.
They come back with a bunch of snarky answers, and they try to make you look stupid, and they basically just make you feel foolish, and then you don't go back.
And I don't know why, if it makes them feel better for doing that.
That does not happen here.
Yeah, it does not.
It is the most supportive, awesome place to make friends. And members meet up with other members.
Absolutely.
Like they meet up, and it's a wonderful thing. It's a tremendous community, and they do their own broadcasts. They do their own interviews. They do community live.
Yep. Every Thursday we have community live, and
they do shoots. They'll get together, and a bunch of people get together in New York or different places. It really is. It's very special what we have going there, and I don't want to take the credit for it. I want to give the credit to the moderators. People like
absolutely.
Nando,
oh yeah,
Doc,
they're wonderful.
And Deb and all these people that are, their hearts and souls are in it, and they nurture it, and it's like a family in there.
Right, and
really
the KelbyOne trainers, you get a new lesson every single week. Every Thursday, there's a new lesson put out, and the trainers are some of the best in the world. And they don't just hide. They give a training class and hide that you can't ask questions. They're very interactive with you. They'll engage with you, engage in conversations with you. If the only photography training you're getting is on YouTube, you're seriously missing out. KelbyOne is absolutely the place to be. I love it. I've been a member for years now, and I can't think of and I'm not a beginner photographer, but I still learn something every single week.
Well, John, you're welcome back anytime on the grid, let me tell you.
Well, another thing, John, that I think is so awesome is like you got that little button next to every course that says discuss this course. And what's great is like you discuss that course with Rick Salmon, and Rick Salmon's right in that community answering you right back.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
if he's not right in there answering you back, somebody else is in there, but then eventually Rick's answering you right back.
Right, and
so
other people that have watched the same
feedback.
class are in there. Jack says, for Adobe support, I think the KelbyOne community is better than Adobe's own support. I agree.
I agree.
I've heard that
as well.
before. Hey, Chase is asking, is it better to add more with the shift key or to do 2 or more generative fills? For detail, Chase, you're better to do more generative fills. You're better to just select an area, do a generative fill, move over, select and do that. Like you're better off to do that. All right, guys, we are over our time limit. So first couple of reminders. You know what's coming up? Photoshop World. Photoshop World Conference is coming up in September, but tons of people are signing up now because they're going to get the best deal. So you can save $100. Sign up right now, and it's a 3-day online experience, 3 days, 3 tracks. You get the whole thing archived for a year, so you have access to all these classes. Phenomenal instructors. It's really a great experience, and we'd love to have you be a part of it. So register now, save the $100, and just go to Kelby, I'm sorry, for this one's photoshopworld.com. Go to photoshopworld.com. It's all right there. So I hope you'll take advantage of that. Also, listen to what John said. Go to KelbyOne.com, and we would love to have you as a member. You know, it's funny. I was just telling somebody this story the other day. If you guys will just let me go for 30 seconds. When we launched KelbyOne, it was more expensive. It was $250, and there was 22 classes.
Wow.
That's when we launched it, and it took off.
Yeah. What in life right now has got cheaper?
Right. Ours
you pay more for that Wendy's value meal than you would.
We have over 1,000 courses. So people were paying more for 22 classes, and we have 1,000 courses, and a brand new class comes out every week, right? Every single week there's a brand new course. So we'd love to have you join. Go over to KelbyOne.com and just ask, and if you ask anybody like John or anybody else, another KelbyOne member, is it worth it? It's such a great value. It really is. All right.
And plus, my class is coming up in a couple of weeks.
Plus,
my very first KelbyOne class. I'm
telling you, I got a preview. I saw it. It is an absolutely that you put a lot of time, effort, research. You and Tracy.
I wanted to give her credit too, because Tracy worked her tail off.
It paid off.
She really did.
It's
she was finding compositions.
Top-notch class.
I can't take all the credit for all of it, because Tracy did a lot of work for that class.
I wasn't going to give you all the credit. I was sharing the credit with Tracy and basically any passers-by. All right. Eric, am I thinking of anything else we need to talk about? Have I got everything?
No, I think you got everything. Big ones, Photoshop World's coming up, so we got that coming up.
Yep, do it now so you don't forget about it, because we'll remind you. If you sign up now, don't worry. We'll say, hey, it's coming up next week. It's coming up tomorrow. Let's go. All right. Yep. Well, that's it for us. Eric, thank you for taking the time. Eric's out there on vacation in Page, and he took the time to be on the show today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric,
for doing that.
Good seeing you again.
John Dukes,
good to
lovely
see you.
having you. Your second grid appearance. And you were even better this time.
Was I?
And you were great on the first one. I thought you were awesome. You were even better today. So we're celebrating what we will always call John Dukes Day here at KelbyOne headquarters. Thanks to our crew and all of our sponsors. Thanks to you guys for watching. We will see you next Wednesday right here live on the grid. Take care, everybody.
Take care.